I wanted to present to you guys now the results of the numbers I got back from Time Warner Cable on advertising in the different news media channels. Now, I did not get any numbers on any other channels such as Comedy Channel or any other affiliate channels. These are mainly the news channels because those are the people we need to appeal to, in my opinion, first. And those are some of the highest expensive commercials that we can get, as far as, because the target demographic on those is so laid out and so explicit, they know what they're charging. And Fox News is, if you've heard the big spiel from Time Warner Cable about getting gouged on the prices and getting tough or not, that's all specifically about Fox News' power now that they are the top rated news channel on TV. Now, granted, I know for you guys that are advised that's not anything major, but it still is. Gives them the command of how much they charge for their commercials. So the numbers with Fox News at the top is $16.25 per commercial spot on Fox News. Headline news, which is CNN headline news, is about $12. CNN itself is $16.50. MSNBC now is only $4.50. For those of you that know Chris Matthews' ratings are in the tank and in the crapper, that's true. $4.50 a commercial for there, and CNBC is $5.75 a commercial. So while I would recommend that we focus our advertising on Fox News Channel, mind you, that's 3 times the cost of the cheaper channels, and some people still watch NBC, CBS channels, so MSNBC with a cheap buy there might be worthwhile to get in some commercials, plus you're appealing to those who don't consider themselves to be conservatives. So I would definitely recommend that we buy some spots in there. Now, let me break down what this means. These are the average prices per commercial for 30 seconds on their channel. Now, without getting into the ins and outs of splitting a commercial down into 15-second spots, 30-second spots, or anything like that, I want to explain what this means. What this means is that without buying in a certain venue, we do not buy, or at least if I buy asking for it to be in the Glenn Beck Show, we may be 2-3 times the cost of these to get a specific time zone. This is the average price across time zones, and I try to make my buys based on getting the lowest price and getting the job done with the maximum amount of exposure without locking us into a time. Now, I can buy prime time, pre-prime, or evening hours, and I'm not going to bore you with all the names of those zones, but the focus is that we want to get as many inexpensive commercials as possible. We want to maximize exposure for every dollar we spend, which means we'll accept off show times. I mean, granted, I don't watch Neil Cavuto, but I think I might could do some targeted buys with the Judge Napolitano show, which I highly recommend. He's really constitutional, and he's exploding. All this week is Freedom Week. He's taking over the late night spot where Neil Cavuto gets replayed, and that shows how much of an appeal to us he has as an audience. So he has the most informed audience and one of the biggest audience on Fox right now, and that's why they moved him from a Saturday morning spot to an evening spot all this week. So if I can make buys during his show and get the dirt cheap basement prices, then I'll do that. But if not, then we'll look at buying some on Fox News and different channels, and then maybe if we can get 1 or 2 in like the Glenn Beck Show or something that's during the midday or afternoon. Still, you got to remember, your highest reach is going to be reaching people from 6 to 9 at night, not necessarily even in Glenn Beck's spot. It's not the best spot to be in to get people. That being said, we're getting penetration from this is maximum in Horry County. Now, Horry County, Time Warner runs about 80 to 95% penetration in the Horry County market, and that's what we'll be focusing our efforts on. Georgetown market has been growing with Southern Coastal Cable. I am trying to get prices from them and do some advertising there, but primarily we want to hit Horry County to start with. That's a big market and an expensive market. So we want to focus there, and again, I would trust that you won't tie my hands up. Let me make the buy to get the maximum number of commercials, and like I said, I will put, depending on the budget and what the numbers look like, the primary focus would be on the Fox News channel, but I still recommend we buy these cheaper ads on CNN, MSNBC, and CBS to pick up people that are on the fence politically and don't know exactly where they fit in. So what I can do is get a basic baseline of what our budget is. Once you guys decide and have raised the maximum amount of money you think you'll raise, then I'll go ahead and put in the basic, I'll put it and apply for a buy with them, and then I can get a breakdown of what time slots we're getting and exactly what we're getting for our money. Then I can bring this back and give you a basic report on that, and then I'll make the buy. But we need to move quickly. It is sped up. The process is a lot faster than it used to be. whereas I used to have to take about 2 weeks. Now I think we can shave it down to about a week to get your commercials on television in that market. Again, with Horry County, the buys, it's a complicated process. Some of the buys are for hotel rooms. There's 4 markets within the Myrtle Beach, Horry County market, and the North Georgetown, Williamsburg, all that stuff. But let me focus on that, and you guys just focus on what you want. Now, as far as your content, if you want me to shoot your commercial, I can shoot your commercial rather inexpensively compared to what the other guys charge. I think the bottom fee now is about $500 to shoot a commercial. I could certainly come lower than that if necessary to get a commercial. The basic thing you have to keep in mind is when you get into location shooting and you get into studio shooting, either studio or location, both of those cost quite a bit of money, and that we don't want to do this. You see that I've thrown this studio together. It took me about 2 hours to get this set up and change my background from my standard theological lecture background that I have already set up and do a simple backdrop like this. I can do green screen work as well, but just to set this studio was a couple of hours, and this is not a studio that's set up where we can shoot a commercial here. Location shooting, if we have to shoot any members of there, but I don't recommend that if we can get by. Still frame or still shot commercials are the best. I can sit there and give you 20, 30, 40, 50 hours in developing a commercial that comes from images that we have, video clips, etc., and then do the voiceover without having to spend hours and hours in expensive shoots out on location or in studio. Remember, if you do a studio shot, you have to have a light setup and light kit, actors, anything else that you may need, and you can rack up expenses very quickly, plus paying the rent on the studio. Whereas when we do a commercial like this,
sexy, soulful, reminiscent. These are the words used to describe the newest songs from Zoe. Listen as he presents to you The Situation. 14 of his hottest new tracks all in one CD. It's available at stores and online at forzomusic.com.
Then that commercial was all done by me and generated by me from the images that the artist had. It wasn't that complicated, and it didn't require him to come into studio. It didn't require anything for me to take 30 seconds, actually about 30 minutes, of doing the voiceover. Because unlike some people, I can do voiceovers in different voices and different styles. Let's take, for instance, a very poor quality commercial that I did for Harbor Walk, which had no budget.
Starting at 10 a.m. Saturday, June the 25th in historic Georgetown, we'll have great food, arts and crafts, an open bass tournament, and 3 stages of live entertainment. Our street dance runs from 8 p.m. to midnight.
And a commercial like that, I did the voiceover for it. I was able to do that really cheap with them, and we just used the footage that we had and the clips that we had. Again, these kinds of commercials are a lot cheaper than getting into having scripts and having takes, and I don't care who people say they are. If they haven't been on camera before, the moment the camera goes on, they tend to forget their lines, and then we use hours and hours going over it. It's not as easy as I or others make it look. So decide what you want to do. If we could do a commercial, maybe I can do one for you of still shots for, say, $400 or even $350. Break my arm, twist my arm, please don't put me in the poorhouse, I'm already there. And let's get something done. But the primary focus is that you want to hit, and I would recommend to you guys, and bear with me a minute as I get a little bit long-winded, we want the commercials to state not completely our platform, but to entice people to come to the meetings, maybe even challenge liberals to come to the meetings. And that way they can come to the meeting, find out what we're all about, and realize that we all have something in common. Right now, the Democrats, the Independents, the Republicans, all of us are now against the neoconservative, which are fake conservative Republicans, and we're all against the Democrats and Obama. The biggest slur this week was, of course, where that font of wisdom of Obama's as his press secretary got out there and explained that the leftists that were complaining that he had not lived up to any single promise that he's made in his campaign, that they were nut jobs. And so basically they've kissed off their core support at this point, and we need to reach out to these people, get them involved, and get them back to the Constitution. So you want to appeal to that and come off, I would recommend coming off from the patriotic and the constitutional, and reach out where we have a common ground. And that's the key, the common ground. And the main focus of the commercial, again, since these are pay commercials, will be the meeting night, the location, that kind of thing, and the shortest message. It literally has to be a one-sentence message. That's it. That's all you have time for. And get out where the meetings are being held and how they can get involved in the website. Now, this is different from the public service announcement commercials, and we can streamline it, but I'll have to do, and that's the thing, I will do for free, the piggyback the commercial for the public service announcements that we can get on television for free, because I will have to make up a completely different public service announcement commercial that's solely based on the constitutionality or Constitution or history or get out the vote, that's your duty as a citizen. That we'll do separately, because that has to be strictly a public service announcement, not a commercial for the Tea Party. So that would be a different one, but I'll throw that in for free. So if you hire me to do your commercial, then I'll give you the other commercial for free, and then I'll get that into the queue with Time Warner Cable, and I'm going to have to fight Southern Coastal Cable to get their queue. But the cool part about public service announcement is, even though we can't really advertise our Tea Party, it will allow you to put it on the local affiliate channels, because they're required to, they should still be required to do those. Now, it will take me up to a month to get those into the queue with them, but again, that's just free, so anything that we do with that is gravy. The other important thing with the commercials is that we get that television presence, not only should we have more members and more people joining, but it should lead to more money being donated. Because the key is, you have to demonstrate that the money that people give us is spent doing what they want done, pushing their agenda. And so that's what you want to focus on with your commercials. Let me know what you think. Maybe a bit of debate, but decide what you want to do and let me know, and we'll move on from there. Missed seeing you guys. Have a great week, and check back for the legislative updates on YouTube.